Dominique.
Hey, what's up, Michael? How you doing today? Nigeria Chambers from Big O Belt Media. Oh man, we got one to talk about today.
Hi, guys.
Dominique coming to
Great.
theaters October 11th and on the demand in digital as well. How you feeling today, brother?
Good, man. Good. Did you get to
Um,
see the film or no?
I did. Got a lot to talk about with you
Okay, let's
today,
do it.
buddy. Let's
All
let's
right.
let's get right into it.
Yeah.
First thing is first is The Russian Bride is a fantastic film. So seeing the collaboration effort with you two coming back together, I knew it was a no-brainer for me. And I know that you felt the energy from that, and I felt like it was probably just a no-brainer to cast her once again as your lead. But what also is interesting is having her now in the writer's seat. Can you talk about the collaboration process in terms of writing the script together?
Yeah. Well, we've known each other a while, so so we've developed. I'll be honest, she's been my muse over the years, and that's how the Russian Bride evolved, and then this. Um, but since we after we did the Russian Bride, we just decided. Well, actually, we came up with the idea for this beforehand, in like 2017. Yeah, and it was a bigger film. It wasn't just this film; it was another script entirely. But so we came up with the idea together. Obviously, to me, she is the character. She's the quintessential James Bond woman, 6 foot Ukrainian. I mean, come on, right? So she inspired the character. We came up with the script. It was just too big. We couldn't raise the financing. So what we did was, after about trying for about 3, 4 years, we decided to come up with a prequel, something to set up the other script, and that's this one. Something small, takes place at a house, you know.
Okay. Now we're getting the answers I need here. And I'm gonna talk about the things I really need to know about for the sake of time. Now that's key because there is at the end of the film during the credits, I felt robbed because I'm like, that's the sequence I really wanted. And the only saving grace for me was like when you saw the next credit scene, it's like, oh, because there's more. I have to ask you,
Yeah.
as a director, as an action fan, knowing that you have basically your top assassin
Mhm.
versus the cartel, and you decide to chunk cake that into a credit roll. How big are we talking about with this next film now? If you were to throw away that whole thing in the credits, how big are we talking about now going forward?
It's bigger. It's a lot bigger. It's many dimensions. It has the scale of a Bond film, but it deals with human trafficking. And basically, it's a different story entirely. Basically, it starts in a church kitchen, which you saw it ended in a church, and she's working in the kitchen. She's cooking. And her best friend is Pepe the priest, and basically she befriends. I'm not going to tell you this. I mean, we can't talk about the end of Dominique, but anyway, she befriends a boy whose sister's kidnapped by human traffickers, and she decides to help him and to find his sister. So it's a different story entirely, but it's big. It's bigger.
Yeah. Ooh. All right. Well, you make sure I'll make sure I keep my seat warm. You keep your seat warm. We'll be definitely need to come back to talk about that. Now,
Right.
Dominique, now, I mean, it sets the tone off break with the violence, the brutality, the gore. As the fan, you're in for something special, and it never lets off. And typically in how some films are done, it kind of sets the tone early, and that's kind of like the bar for things to come.
Mhm.
You, my friend, have a whole different plan I see with this film because for every small bit of hope that I had in this film, you just basically was like, nope, get that out of there. Nope, you're not getting none of that. Don't worry about it, which I love because unpredictability is the best element in all of storytelling. Like we see the same tropes over and over, the same sort of character arcs and whatnot. But this one,
Yeah,
you take the risk in terms of why I love international films. Is because whatever they do on American soil is
yeah,
pretty cookie cutter, but you get a UK project, you get a Japanese
yeah,
project, you
yeah,
know
yeah,
they're going to take some risks.
yeah,
You took
yeah, for
those
sure.
risks.
Thank you,
What's your
thank you. Yeah,
motivation?
yeah. I mean, also, but it's not just that. It's not just taking the risk. I mean, you can take the risk, but if you don't care, if the audience doesn't care, the risk don't mean nothing. So to me, it's all about making the audience care. So the film does let up for about 20 minutes. It slows down to get to know the people and the characters a little bit, and then the shit hits the fan, and then it rockets to the end, right?
Yeah.
But But yeah, I think you need to really today. It's really hard to impress people and to really grip people and to make people. I wanted a film people would talk about. I think I'd like people to talk about all my films, but yeah, it's important to do something to do something that's different, that
Yeah.
shocks people. Try and throw some curveballs in there. But most important to me is making them feel, because I like movies that the action is great. I love roller coasters, but if you can feel emotion and be on that ride, holy shit, right? That's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's where that's where the real power is in filmmaking. That's how it used to be. Used
Yeah.
to care about the characters. They would devote. There'd be no action until the end, and then but when it hit, boy, you felt it, right? Today you just, it's like, those. It's like being in a match that the guy's just pulverizing you from the very beginning.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's over, right? So.
Yeah. I think that's a great analogy because sometimes I feel like when it comes down to certain American action properties, it feels like a sparring match. But when we watch combat sports, what are we going there for? We're
Right,
looking for the chaos, the storytelling, but that ending that we didn't see coming. That
right,
person that was the underdog that you're like,
right,
holy hell, they
right.
won. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Which is what I felt with this. Even to the point that like I felt like I was a betting man and lost my bet, and I was walking around like, how am I going to recoup all this money
Oh,
back?
that's funny. That's funny.
I truly want to know because Dominique, we have a story before the story, and then obviously after everything that happens in this, you have to only imagine how does one endure just that much. Where do we kind of lay when it comes down to her motivation? And then obviously beyond that, we got to talk about like what's going to be her driving factor going forward. So with everything that kind of happens in this film, where do you
That's gonna
kind
be
of
a
say
hard one
she's
to
at
talk about.
mentally?
That's gonna be a hard. The second part's gonna be a harder one to talk about because
Okay, okay,
because it has to, But but the first one, we're talking about a woman who's been an assassin all her life, raised as a child, taken in by the mafia. We're deciding whether it's Russian or Albanian, so because of everything that's going on,
yeah, yeah,
but it's the mafia, and she became like a John Wick, the most infamous assassin in the underworld, right? And she codenamed the Phoenix, right? Because
yeah.
she always survives, right? She's reborn every time. You think she's gonna, and that's kind of we explore that in this film a little bit. After she it opens with her crashing her plane, right? She looks dead, boom, she's reborn, right? Now in a new place, and then she goes on her journey, and at the end of the film she's kind of dies and is reborn again too, in a way, right? So that's kind of the ongoing theme, right? That she can't
Yeah.
die. Um, we'll see what happens in the sequel.
Yeah, and there's also a little bit of PTSD in there as well too from everything in the past. We see that explored a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, basically, she tries to get out of the mob. That's why she steals the plane. And if you want to, I mean, there's a whole movie that thinking of making after the sequel, possibly. It's a
Hey
prequel.
man, never
Yeah.
stop.
You
Never
know,
stop.
you know what
Keep
I mean?
going.
Yeah. And they try to kill her. They put a bullet in her head, and she
Yeah,
survived, right? And
yeah.
so, and there, and then in the sequel, there's the effects of the bullet in her head become an issue, actually.
Ah, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. We just touch upon it in this film, but
Yeah.
yeah,
One other thing I wrap up with here is now, I mean, it's without a doubt what Oksana can do as your lead here, but you got so many other folks that comes in this project, especially some of the younger cast that comes in here and
yeah.
makes a presence. Just talk about some of the other cast members having them a part of this and anything that kind of stood out to you.
Well, I really enjoy working with kids, and so there are a lot. I mean, this is about a woman who protects a family, a pregnant woman
Yeah,
and her children, and the cast was amazing. Kids were phenomenal. The Colombian actors are just top notch, man.
yeah,
No, I was really and we got some of the best. We got like the old man, the grandfather. He's like the Robert De
yeah,
Niro of Colombia, that dude.
yeah,
And it's funny when the role was much smaller, he almost had no dialogue in the original. He was just this quiet old man in the wheelchair. But when I met that guy, I'm like, give him dialogue. I wrote that dialogue for him at the end. I just kept adding. I had him start shooting, guns in the kitchen during the fight. All that stuff I added.
yeah,
Also the big guy who she takes out in the first battle. You know, I was looking for just some guy to play Detective Navarro, but when I saw this guy huge, I'm not gonna go into details, but I'm like, I gotta do something with this dude.
And what you did with him was amazing. I'll be asking about that a little bit later on
That
today,
came
but
to
that
me
was
after the fact,
amazing.
man. When I see, I definitely, you come up with an idea, you write a script, but it grows, man. And when you bring other people into the pot, you see it's just the stew just builds it. It becomes tastier. You from these different people, you tap into their strengths, right?
Yeah.
That's if you could tap into the actor's strengths and let go of what you preconceived, sometimes you're better off.
Yeah, yeah. Then you got my man, the OG Conejo on here too.
Oh,
His
Caneo,
presence.
dude. Oh, Caneo. I got him in the sequel. I'm bringing him back.
All right.
Well, you know what?
That's it. I won't ask any questions, but I'm definitely going to try to reach for some scoop for the next one, like a title or something. But that is a person. And listen, I will say, I noticed that a particular body was not put on that truck. So yes, indeed, my guy, I appreciate that scoop there. Man, oh man, Michael, it's been a pleasure. Yeah, let's stay in touch, man. I'm a big fan of your work, and it's been an honor to talk to you today about this one.
That's awesome, dude. Thank you so much. All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Folks, once again, Dominique comes to theater on demand and digital October 11th.
Thanks, next year.